Today we are talking about cortisol. It is one of my all-time favorite topics because if you are like me, you are a busy mom, a busy woman, and we get so tired of hearing about stress. And so many times when I see cortisol posts on social media, on Instagram, and various different places, people are talking about strategies to reduce stress. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today are some strategies where, yes, stress is a huge component. Let me make it so it's not so dark in here. The sun just kind of got away. But what I want to give you is practical tips, because what we can't always control is our schedule, our lifestyle, the fact that we have families, the fact that we have kids, grandkids, or other aging parents and family members that we're taking care of. But what we can control are the habits and the mindset that we put in place around that. And then also we can take some actionable steps to reduce our stress load and our internal stressors. And what I mean by internal stressors are, a lot of times we are dealing with stress from food. And if you know me, hello. If you don't, I'm all things nutrition. Okay, I am certified in functional nutrition, functional blood work, and functional neurotoxicity. So I talk about the sensitivities of our bodies, the deficiencies and the toxicities, and how we can remove those stressors and give ourselves room to breathe in those areas that are outside of our control. So that is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. I do have a cortisol management guide that is free to everyone listening. So if you have not received the guide, please comment guide below. And then toward the end of today's training, it's not really a presentation, but toward the end of today's training, I do have an opportunity for you to also get into a cortisol reset, which is also going to talk a little bit to you about cortisol testing, because I am also very big on test, don't guess. I do not believe that we can start a health and wellness journey with, without knowing exactly what's going on in the body. It just doesn't serve us well. There's a lot of products that are being pushed right now for cortisol packets, cortisol, maybe Calm. I think I'm trying to think of some names I've seen, and I've actually seen people talk about it as a cortisol detox. And if you, it's not a detox, it is a daily. It's not actually something we have to think about daily. And then sometimes we need to think about it when we are, encountering stress that is outside of our control. So when I was studying for my functional nutrition exam years ago, and I like to use this as an example, that stress load had me to where I had to look at other areas of my life that I could control. And one of those ended up for me being to take caffeine out to lower my histamine load, because the stress was not only increasing my cortisol, it was increasing my histamine imbalances, my histamine load. And if you know anything about histamines and cortisol, they both contribute to other hormonal imbalances, which unfortunately lead us to gain weight sometimes in areas that we don't want to gain weight. So if you have been looking at your midsection going, why is this multiplying and I'm doing everything right? Then a lot of times it can be your hormones, your cortisol, your histamines, and this huge picture. And that's why I look at your body as a project, as a plan, because you need a plan to put in place. What I'm going to start doing is going through some habits and ways that you can reset your cortisol. But before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about what cortisol is. Cortisol is a hormone. Okay, so if you think your hormones are out of balance, perhaps they are. And again, I'm getting this lighting glare on me, and I don't know if y'all can see it. But the cortisol sometimes gets out of balance when it's in fight or flight and it gets stuck. Okay, and a lot of times this affects our sleep, our fatigue, our anxiety levels. It weakens our immune system. All right, if you feel like you're getting sick all the time, it makes it to where you have trouble concentrating. So a lot of those ADD, ADHD tendencies are just complete brain fog, and you can't remember one thing after the next. Low libido, just completely uninterested in partners, weight gain, and that increase in chronic illness where it just lingers. All right, and autoimmune conditions, I'm going to throw that in there. It causes autoimmune conditions to come to an all-time high with all-time high, those flares. Those flares can just get out of control. And the problem that I'm seeing today is just simply modern life. Okay. I see adrenal fatigue and cortisol imbalances in our kids. I work a lot with kids. I can tell you right now, if you see this big smile on my face and this big glow, it's because my client population right now is about 50-50 with adults and kids. And I love kids. Okay. I love working with them because they're sponges with this information. And parents will do things, they will cook for their children in a way they think is unreasonable to cook for themselves. So if you can, if we can start helping our children understand the role of nutrition in their bodies and how it prevents these chronic illnesses and how it prevents this pain and how it can increase your hormonal balances, then we are really feeding into those next generations. So I love that. But what's breaking my heart is the fact that we're seeing it in our children. And I'm speaking with you and I'm right along in that life cycle with you, because we do play very competitive high level sports and we travel a lot and my kids are extremely active. Very seldom is there a night that everybody's home. But when there is, and we try to make that at least once a week, we covet that opportunity to rest together as a family. We have Dancing with the Stars and those fun all-time favorite shows where we've just created fun around it, and we make these with the star dates. Okay. So whatever habits you need to put in place, we've got to instill those down moments.